Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Happy holidays! I'm Greg.
Hello, I'm Karen.
And welcome to Scary Spirits Podcast Reviews, where usually we review a movie which is in theaters now. But this week we're doing something different, aren't we, Karen?
It's so exciting. I can hardly stand it.
What are we doing this week, Karen?
Well, you know we're givers, Greg, right? I mean, we say that all the time.
I think everyone knows that.
Everyone knows we're givers. And we're just thinking about you, our listener out there, thinking, what am I going to get this certain someone for a holiday gift?
Who might be a horror fanatic or fan
or a game fan.
Yeah, or a gamer, yeah.
So what we've done is we have purchased and played 3 different horror-themed board games. I invited myself over to Greg's house, and I said, we're going to do this. So we actually played them all together in the same room.
In the same room. We were together in person.
And Greg only wanted to flip one board.
That's true.
Otherwise, it went pretty smoothly.
But no board was flipped. No board was flipped.
Nope.
I hear
feeling...
it's not game night until a board is flipped, Karen.
Well, that's in the Hudson household.
Oh, okay.
And that's when we were younger. We try to be more mature now. And besides, it's my dad that says that anyway.
Oh, does he?
So yeah, we're just in the holiday spirit. And we thought, let's help some people out. Let's test some games. Because if someone had done this for me, I would have liked it. Because there's all kinds of games out there. Go on Amazon, there's 100 games you can choose from. How do you know which one might be good for what you're looking for? So we've done a couple. Well, actually 3.
So Karen, what 3 games did we play?
We played Horrified. We played Salem 1692. And we played Pick Your Poison.
Okay. And in the show notes, there is links to each of those if you want to purchase them on Amazon. And if you do, we'll get like a penny.
I know. We're so excited. Woohoo, a penny. Which is a bonus, but not really why we did it. We did it for fun.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was a fun evening.
There were 5 of us.
Did you have fun, Karen?
I did.
I didn't want to speak for you. You may have thought, God damn it, over here at the damn Wallace house again.
Never again.
Greg's drinking again.
Well, we'll get into that. But no, it was fun, and I highly recommend it. It's nice to put the phones away, sit down together, and play a board game. And as I said, when I went over to Greg's house, I had a whole bag of board games because every year I buy a new board game thinking I'm going to get my family to play this with me over the Christmas break. And it never happens. They're just not board gamers. So I had to search out board gamers and I found them.
Yeah, it was fun. I like to do it again. Bring the rest we didn't play and we'll do it again.
Yeah, there's still a lot in the bag that we didn't get to.
So we had Karen, of course, myself, my gift of a wife.
Yes.
And we had my son and his fiance.
So a wide range of ages.
Yeah, my son is 30-ish and his fiance is 24-ish, something like that, 23.
And so, we're just a little older than that. I'm the oldest.
Karen's the oldest. And then you had me. And then you had my wife, who's a little younger than me. Actually, like 6 months younger than me. So she's the middle. She's the middle.
Yes. So we had the old folks and the young adults. We did not have any teenagers or anything like that. But
I'm not even sure what these games were rated. Did you make a note?
Yeah, I have them.
Okay, cool. Which game do you want to go over first, Karen?
Well, I think we should go in the order that we played them.
Okay.
So that means we start with
Yes, go
Salem.
on. Tell me which one we played first.
Greg doesn't remember a whole lot.
I remember quite a bit.
You were drinking Possession Punch. That
I know,
was
Karen.
the
A little
problem.
too much Possession Punch at the end. So there you go.
So we started with Salem 1692. And the description is the hunt is on. In Salem 1692, the witch hunt is heating up. Who is friend and who is foe? Where are the witches hiding? This card game is a unique strategic and social deduction game.
And that is produced by Facade Games, Salem 1692. Did it have an age rating or anything on it?
14 and up.
That seems correct.
For 4 to 12 players, and it lasts about 20 to 40 minutes.
I think even younger could play it. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, it says players should be 14 years older, so tweens, teens, and adults can gather around for an interesting intrigue and facade, it says. So what we're going to start with, the first thing I'm going to tell you is the packaging is very cool.
Mm-hmm. It was good.
It's an impressive.
Of the 3 games we played, it had the best packaging.
Yes, it looks like a book, like an old book. And then you open it up. So,
and all of the Facade games kind of look that way.
Yes, there are others in this series, but we chose this one because witches.
Well, you chose it, Karen.
Well, because witches. But so it's an impressive looking gift, I would say. Of all of them, it's the coolest looking.
My son has just told me that his fiance is 22.
All right. So this game is a card game.
Yeah, no board involved.
No.
There was kind of like play pieces, though. I remember a gavel, Karen, because I had the gavel at one point and I didn't understand why.
And your son said it was a lot like a game called Werewolf, if you know that one. We don't want to give a whole ton of it away, I don't think, but you do accuse each other. So you accuse your friends of witchcraft using cards, strategy, deceit, and a bit of luck. You can kind of interact and gang up on people. There's basically one to 2 witches in the group. Up to, I think, 6 people, there's 1 witch, and anything higher than that, there's 2. Do you want to tell them how to play, or do you just want to say whether?
In this game, you were like the moderator.
When you first start, so with any
you didn't really
game,
get to play. You kind of observed and directed play.
Yes. Yeah. So as with any game, I think it takes a little bit of running through it a couple times before you get it, before you understand what you have to do. Once you do, this game, I don't want to say it was more difficult, but once we went through it a couple times, it went very quickly after that.
Yeah.
So it says in the instructions, if you haven't played it before, that you should have a moderator, because what happens basically, first you deal out a character. And what's interesting about this game and what I really liked about it is each person gets a character and they have a bio that you can read. And it is a historically what we would consider accurate bio. It tells you who they are, what they did, and they also come
real
with
people from the Salem witch trials.
Yes. And they come with kind of, your card has a kind of magical power that you can do something with. You take one card that says witch and the rest of them say not witch. You deal them out. And so one person in your group is the witch. And as the moderator, I know who that is. Once you have your characters, you get dealt a certain number of cards, which you can accuse other people. They're red, black, or blue.
Yeah.
Accusation cards, basically. And when, you can go through, when you get a certain number of accusations,
7,
whoever makes the final one can turn over your cards in front of you.
One of your cards in front of you. You have like 7 in front of you or 5?
5. Like I think you have 5.
And you may have a witch card, but the person accusing you has to turn over one card. And if they don't hit the witch card, then the game continues, right?
Right. And if you get to the bottom of the pile, there's something called, you start at dawn, where as the moderator, I know who the witch was. And you put a black cat in front of someone, and that's who starts the game. Then if you get through the whole pile of picking your cards of your actions, basically, then it becomes night and the witch can kill someone.
Yeah.
And then you keep going. And then there's certain times that the cards can be shuffled and cards can move. So if you are a witch, your card telling you you're a witch could move to someone else. That keeps it interesting.
Yes.
And then you want everyone, you can win either everybody becoming a witch or having the witches killed, basically. It sounds much more complicated than it is.
It is.
And it moves very quickly once you understand what's happening. There's not only a witch, there's a constable. The constable can try to save people at night when the witch is killing people by putting the gavel in front of them.
Yeah.
So there are twists and turns.
So that meant my son saved me.
Yes, he did.
Potentially.
Yes.
He's such a good boy.
So it's basically a card game. It's a quick moving card game. You can play with 4 to 12 players, ages 14 and up. It definitely has...
but you need someone to be the moderator who's not going to play.
For the first couple rounds. Yeah, sure.
I think every round you need someone, don't you?
Well, then you could have the town crier and they can play and still be involved once they know what's going on.
Because we had to close our eyes a couple times.
Yes.
And someone had to point at another player.
So it's good to have a moderator.
So what
once you get it going, it's pretty simple.
So what we did, we played the games. This one we played 2 or 3 rounds, I think.
Yeah, once we figured out how to do it.
And then we gave everyone like kind of questionnaires that Karen designed.
Did I?
Yes. And everyone answered questions.
And you have those. So
those.
Is there a common theme through all of those?
So one of the questions was overall impression. Everyone pretty much agreed that it was good once you figured out how to play, right? Like initially it may have been confusing, but once it gets going, it's fun and engaging. That was my son. And my wife said, good once you figure out the rules. My future daughter-in-law said, took a few rounds to get the hang of it, but fun. Maybe more fun with more people. I said fun once you understood how to play. And then Karen wrote, fun and educational.
Yes, because you know I love an education.
Because she wasn't playing. She was moderating.
Right. And reading through. So I'll tell you.
She was guiding us how to play. Basically.
One time we went through, because we hadn't read the instructions carefully enough, everybody's supposed to close their eyes and then the witch is supposed to open their eyes. And there was no witch. And then we're like, okay, crap. What did we do wrong? And then we went back to the draw. And then we saw, oh, there's this one chart in the instructions where it says how many witch cards you need. So there's going to be a slight learning curve, I think.
Ease of play. So I gave it a 5. My future daughter-in-law gave it a 6 out of 10. Apparently we're the only, and my wife gave it a 3 out of 10 or 3 out of 5. She gave it a 3 out of 5. Son said mildly difficult. And Karen said, take some practice. Entertainment value. I gave it a 6 out of 10. My future daughter-in-law gave it a 7 out of 10. And of course, she wrote notes. The historical tie-ins were cool and the rounds were quick. Each game varies in length. My son just wrote high. And entertainment value, my wife said 3 out of 5. So you get a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 3 out of 5, which is basically a 6 out of 10, right?
Yeah. And I think your future daughter-in-law is right. It did vary in length. So some games were quicker than others. The more
it could go really quick. If someone picks the witch card first, the game's over.
Right. But as we got more into it and had a larger understanding of what was happening, the game started to last longer. And we also started to use the special powers that were on our characters to our advantage, and people started cooperating. And so the longer we played and the more we understood it, the longer the game lasted.
The next question was scare factor. And basically everyone said like none or 0 or low, or my son said, could it be improved with role play? Would you play again? Everyone said, yeah. Knowing what I know now, I wrote, yes. Would you recommend to friends? So everyone but my wife said yes. My wife said, only nerdy ones.
Well, that would be me.
Yeah.
She would probably say, you'd really like this game.
Probably would to you. What did you like about the game? I wrote gameplay. Karen wrote facts with fun. My future daughter-in-law said cool background, quick rounds. Yeah. My son said fast paced and mentally engaging. My wife said there was a witch. That's what she liked.
Well, that's always fun.
What didn't you like about the game? Karen said a little difficult until you get the hang of it. I said randomness.
There's not a lot of strategy. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's kind of random. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need skill necessarily to do it. It's all just card.
Pick a card. Pick a card, any card.
There's a little, you can cooperate a little
Really.
bit, but beyond that, there's not a lot to it.
My future daughter-in-law said lots of setup with cards can and could be confusing or easy to lose pieces. Oh my God, she's a thinker.
Mhm.
My son said it was difficult to understand rules at first. My wife said it took a degree in aerospace engineering to figure out the rules.
Oh, she had no idea. This was the first
Apparently.
one.
First one. And then we asked everyone to give it a letter grade. Everyone's in the B range except for my wife, who gave it a C plus, which I don't know, close enough to a B minus, right?
Yeah.
Son gave it a B minus. My future daughter-in-law gave it a B. I gave it a B, and Karen gave it a B plus.
So it's about a B.
Yeah,
but if you are into the Salem witch trials, you'll love it.
Especially if you know kind of the history of it.
Yeah. Or it might spike.
Because wasn't I like Cotton Mather at one point, and I really like that.
Right. But if you have a 14-year-old and you play, maybe it'll spike their interest in it. Maybe you'll get them to go and look up some facts or something.
So Salem is a B.
But worth playing.
Oh, yeah.
And extra cool packaging.
It was. Yeah, it's cool packaging. Probably good we played it early before I got too much possession punch in me.
True.
All right, Karen, what game did we play next?
After Salem 1692, we played Pick Your Poison.
And apparently I failed to hand out questionnaires about that one. But Karen and I can discuss it.
It's a family-friendly game, ages 10 plus. And it's kind of a would you rather game.
It's exactly a would you rather game.
No, well, it has a judge, and it's not exactly. Those are just cards, right? This one.
It's Cards Against Humanity, basically.
Sort of, but they had to change it a little bit.
But politically correct.
Well, and you don't get as many cards, but there's a judge. So the judge pulls a card, and then everyone who's playing tries to match that card in intensity. And you put them down on an A and B spot on a small board.
Yeah.
And then
whoever's turn it is picks a card, right? Or is it
the judge picks a card, chooses it, and says, this is the one where, for example, it would say, have irremovable nostril hairs that extend beyond your upper lip. Okay.
I think I had that card, Karen.
So as the judge, I would say, this is the card I'm going to place in spot A. Then everyone who is playing has, I think, 6 or 7 cards. I don't know, multitudes of cards.
To pick
and
from.
They look from their hand of cards. And what you want to do is
pick something worse than that.
No, match it in intensity as the judge. So you hand over, everybody who's playing gives the judge one of their cards. The judge wants to make it a difficult decision, because everyone in the audience, we'll call them, has an A or a B card, and they have to vote which thing they would rather do. If it's a split decision, the judge gets points because they've made it difficult. If it's unanimous, the judge loses points. If it's not unanimous or split, then the players get points, and you play to 15. But if you're familiar with Cards Against Humanity, you will understand how to play this very quickly.
It's kind of like apples to apples too, right?
That's what your future daughter-in-law said. Yes. Yeah. But I think it's a that's a younger kids game. I think this is in the middle of the two. And I thought it would be a little more Halloween oriented, or, and it's not. It's just a little bit, it's not apples to apples, but it's definitely not Cards Against Humanity either. It's not. So it's in the middle.
It is.
And if you've played those, and they're fun games and you laugh a lot when you're reading them. So definitely 10 and up. It's a nice game that you could sit around with your aunts and uncles and your kids and play.
Yeah. And it was produced by Dice Game, DYCE, Dice Games.
It's not raunchy. Some of it's gross. There's some gross things in there. I mean, like losing all your teeth every night, or having someone else chew your food before you eat it. I mean, it's not apples to apples, but it's also definitely not Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, because we actually played that, right? Because you hadn't played it?
I'd never played it. And you brought it out to show me. And it's not that. So it's a nice in-between kind of teen game where it's gross enough that it would make them laugh.
Cards Against Humanity for the whole family.
Yes.
And still adult enough so it's not apples to apples.
Right. Teens might still laugh, or at least grin.
Because I remember playing apples to apples with my mom once, and she really liked it. And I was like, well, this is stupid.
I know my nieces and nephews, when they were younger, liked it.
Yeah, it was a little too low,
Yeah, but this one's not. Pick your poison.
For me.
And didn't you say there was a nighttime one or something? So there is an After Dark expansion, which we did not play, but probably leans more towards
adult themed things.
Yeah. But it's funny.
Right. So, like I said, we didn't hand out, or I failed to hand out paperwork for this. So what would you give this grade?
It's hard. It's because what you have to think about is, who do you have coming over to your house, right? If it's all adults, would I play it? I'd probably play the After Dark version or Cards Against Humanity. If we've got people from 10 to 50 coming over, perfect. It's funny.
We were 22 and up, and it was still
It's funny. Yeah. But I'm saying you can include younger kids in this game. Whereas if we were just going to come over to your house and that was the age range 22 to 100 like me, you would have probably pulled out.
I wasn't going to say it, Karen.
The Cards Against Humanity instead of Pick Your Poison. So it kind of depends on who's coming over. But I thought it was fun. It's very easy to learn. You can or can't do the points. You don't have to. It just starts conversations. You start arguing with why this thing isn't so bad and why you would rather have this. So it at least gets people talking to each other a little bit. Like, what? You would eat toenails? Come on, you learn those things about your family and friends.
Yeah. So what letter grade would you give it?
I'd give it a B.
I would too. So
I would give it an A if I had younger kids coming over. I'd give it a C if it was just adults. So I'm going to average it out and say anybody would enjoy playing it.
Yeah, it was fun.
And it's very quick.
I didn't hate it. Moving on to the last game, Karen.
This is when Greg was really drunk on Possession Punch. One thing I will say about Pick Your Poison before we go on, it does say in the notes, it's a perfect idea for a white elephant or a Secret Santa gift. And I agree, because it is all ages. It's easy to understand. There's not a lot of time involved. You can sit down and play that thing as soon as you unwrap it. So that's true. Secret Santa or White Elephant, I think it's a perfect game for that, gift-wise. So then the last game we played was called Horrified.
Horrified Universal Monsters, because there's several different versions.
Yes. And you can do this with 1 to 5 players.
1 to 5?
That's what it says. Ages 10 and up.
How would you play that by yourself, Karen?
You can, because you have hero mode and monster mode. So it wouldn't be as fun, but you can.
Taking your word for it. And this is from Ravensburger, which is a game company.
Horrified is a cooperative board game for ages 10 and up where you defend the town against Frankenstein, Dracula, the Bride of Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. This says easy to understand instructions. I will agree with this. Great replay value. About 60-minute play time, 1 to 5 players. It's easy to learn with varying levels of difficulty, and you face unique monsters in different situations and strategies. The game always changes. You won't play it the same way twice, which is awesome.
I agree.
I would disagree with saying that it was easy to understand instructions, because it was not. And your son John,
in this one that we watched like a YouTube video.
It's reminiscent of Dungeons and Dragons, but don't let that put you off from the game. But the reason that John, Greg's son, was able to get it started with the instructions is because he had played that. So he kind of understood where things go and what was happening. What eventually I did was I just looked up a video on YouTube on how to set it up, because it was very confusing on how to do that. But watching the video simplified it, and they do give you instructions for starting out with just 2 monsters, Dracula and the creature from the Black Lagoon. And Greg was very upset that he did not get to be the creature from the Black Lagoon. You do not get to be the monsters. You get to be different players.
That would be
You're
funner
not the monsters.
Someone was the monster.
Well, at the end, we did say that, that's true. So once we got through the instructions, which are detailed, and we started to figure it out, we started really rolling and really going quickly through it. It's not hard once you know what you need to do, but it is very difficult to explain in writing what you need to do. So the YouTube videos were very helpful, got us really going, and we could play the basic game pretty quickly once we had it set up. I would say that if we played it more often, we would play it in a more complicated way. We only played this
once, right? We didn't play it more than once.
And it lasted about an hour once we figured out what to do. If we played it again, I think we would use the cards more effectively. We would cooperate more together. It would be a much more interesting game the second time through. But it's, I think, one of those games.
Especially for me.
Yes. We were talking about at the end that we almost need to play it again within a reasonable amount of time, or we're going to forget what we learned. So it's a game that if you play it a couple times, you'll get the concept and it won't be hard to do. It's a fun game.
And we should say there are several different versions, right? There's a Universal Monsters, which is the one we played. There's an American Monsters one, which has Bigfoot and the Mothman and the Chupacabra. Cool. And what was the other one you just mentioned? Jaws. But you work together. You have a character who can do certain things, on the plus side. There's a hero mode where first you're in hero mode. You follow the instructions on the card, you pull a card, you flip that card over, and you're in monster mode, and you do it tells you exactly what to do in each mode, where everything, when to roll dice, when to move, how often to move, everything's on the card. So once you figure it out, it isn't very difficult at all. Where it becomes more complicated is adding more monsters to fight, cooperating with your other players. Especially if your grade school report card said does not play well with others. You're not probably going to be very cooperative. I think for people who want to personally win a game, this isn't going to do it for them, because you don't come out as the one winner. Everybody works together to kill the monsters or chase the monsters out of the town. So if you or your friend or whoever you're buying this for as a gift is highly competitive and wants to be the winner, this is not the game for them. Probably but if it's something that you just want to have fun with and work together, and you like the people you're playing with, and team building, Karen, team building,
then it is a good game for that. Your thoughts, Greg?
I didn't understand it at all. I couldn't follow what was going on. Everyone was doing stuff. I'm like, well, why are you doing that? And then my stepdaughter came over and sat down next to me, like in the middle of the evening while we were playing this. And I kept turning to her. I'm like, do you know what's going on? And she didn't. But of course, she's got in the middle of it. So of course she wouldn't. But
In our defense, we did explain to Greg multiple times what was going on, but he was possessed at that point and still mad that he wasn't the creature from the Black Lagoon. You were very upset about that. Very upset. So but that's another part of it.
You should have just gave me the creature piece and said, okay, go ahead, move that one.
Well, it's interesting because we did say at the end of the game, it would be more challenging and a little bit different strategy if someone was playing the role of the monsters. Like, so you do your hero mode thing on the one side of the card, and when you flip it, one person takes over for the monster, because when you play it, you can move the monster to your advantage. Without getting into too many details, someone has low number of lives left, say, and you have a lot of lives left. You can direct the monster. If we're equal distance from the monster, we'll push the monster to me so that the other person lives. But if someone was playing the role of the monster, they could go towards...
I'm going to take you out.
Yeah, then they would have to go back to the hospital. So there's different strategy involved. It would be, but it's a highly cooperative game. That's the whole point of it. So that's why you can do that, because you look around and you see who can sustain damage, who's closest to crushing.
And maybe that's why I didn't get it, because I'm not used to playing games like that, right? Because I may or may not be the highly competitive person who needs to win.
It's possible, because it's all cooperative. And we did say at the end that would make it a little more challenging. And John, your son, said, I think there was some sort of Star Wars game or something that he knew of where someone is pushing back against the cooperation of the rest of the people. So next time you maybe could be the creature from the Black Lagoon, but you'd have to be everyone else too.
Okay. I did hand out questionnaires for this game, and for overall impression, everyone kind of agreed that it was fun and whatnot. I mean, my future daughter-in-law said, love, I'd buy it myself. My son John said, good. Karen said, fun as a group. And my wife said, fun once you get into the flow. Ease of play, almost everyone agreed. Hard to set up, but easy to play once you're into it. Entertainment value, my future daughter-in-law gave it an 8 out of 10. Or a high. My son gave it a high. You gave it a high, Karen. And my lovely wife gave it 4 out of 5, which I would say is high as well. So entertaining. Scare factor, everyone's low. Low. Not scary at all. Which I don't know how you can expect a board game to be scary anyway.
That was what you wanted me to put on there.
I did.
But there are creepier games in the bag, so maybe we'll try those.
Would you play again? Everyone said yes. Would you recommend to your friends? Everyone said yes. What did you like about the game? So my future daughter-in-law said the social collaborative aspect makes gameplay easier and faster. Characters/players have special ability, and you need to use it.
Yes, you do.
My son said he liked the miniatures.
They are cool.
He liked the tokens, the play pieces.
The miniatures are cool.
And he thought it was mentally engaging. Karen said cooperation and universal monsters, because they're cool. There was Bella on the board, wasn't there, Karen?
Yes.
And my wife liked the collaboration. See, I'm just one who doesn't like to play with others.
Yet again, it comes forward.
What didn't you like about the game? My future daughter-in-law said, setup was hard to do. We looked at the tutorial, got easier as it went on. My son said, difficult to set up and rules are poorly written. And Karen didn't like you had to kill the monster. She wanted them all to live, apparently. And the setup. And my wife said, figuring out the instructions. Overall letter grade, we have a split decision on this one, Karen. We got A minus, B plus, and B.
It's still pretty high.
So it's either a B plus or an A minus, depending on.
I think it was my favorite game.
If you're a glass half
played.
full or a glass half empty person.
Yes.
We'll say I'll give it a B plus.
I think everyone would have given it an A if the setup wasn't so difficult. But I think it's, for the price, you definitely will get to play a lot, and it won't get monotonous.
This is a new game every time.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
this is pick your poison too, because
Salem
you will
1692
replay the cards in the pick your poison,
Salem.
right? You're going to get
eventually,
You're
but
going
there's
if you
packs
play it
you can
enough, you're
buy.
going to get the same
Right.
scenario cards, right? I think the Salem one is different every game
But more
because
monotonous.
it's random.
Because it's the same thing, though. It's still accusing,
True.
flipping the card. I like it, but and that's why it's easier to play, because it's over and over and over the same thing. When you play this, you have to go through it's like Survivor. You have to go through challenges to get to there's different things you need to do, and there's townspeople involved, and you need to get them where they need to go, and it's a lot to take in for your first time, but it won't be the same game.
And you kind of need to form alliances, don't you, Karen? Just like Survivor.
Well, with everyone, though.
Yes, with everyone. Yeah, that's the part. I think that was the main thing I didn't get, is that we're
You didn't get to
all
win.
working together
We're
to
all
beat
winners,
the
Greg.
monsters.
I liked it.
I did not fill out my questionnaire on this one, so
I think it's a really great game. I think I'm actually going to play it. I'm going to make my kids play it over Thanksgiving or Christmas.
my wife kind of explained it to me the next morning, and I'd be open to playing it again now that I kind of know that, oh, there is no winner. We all win.
Except the monsters. Wah, wah. So I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you've got kids that you need to do something for, or you need a small gift for, like it said, the white elephant or the Secret Santa, I'd say pick your poison. If you want a quick game that you're going to bring in and everybody's going to play a couple of times and be done with it, and you like witches and you're into that thing and you like facts like I do, then Salem 1692. Yes, history and cool packaging.
Yeah, very cool.
That one's going to present the coolest.
Yeah, you can stick that on your bookshelf and
no one would know.
No one knows.
Right? And then I think if you are buying for a serious gamer, someone who really gets into it, has game nights, wants something different, new,
strategy, collaboration.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
And if you like the Universal monsters, the figurines are quite cool.
They are cool. If I had it, I might paint them, like detail paint them.
Oh my God, you probably would.
I totally would.
So my only suggestion before we go is,
and I'm assuming like the other ones are pretty much the same, like the American monsters with Bigfoot and the Mothman and the Chupacabra and
yeah, why don't you get that one?
The Jersey Devil.
If you're going to have
Maybe
a game
I will,
night,
Karen.
what I would suggest that you do, and we came to this conclusion, was if you're bringing the game over, you need to read through it and have a vague idea how to set it up.
You need to know how to play.
Or at least how to set it up and how to get started. It's hard to know how to play if you're not actually going to go through it. But I just brought a bunch of games in a bag, and then we had to sit there for 20, 30 minutes and try to figure out how to play it. That's not as fun.
Didn't I pick the games?
Once I got there, yeah. But in the future, if I'm going to bring a game to game night, I'm going to either watch the YouTube video, try to read through the instructions, get a sense of how to set it up. And I think that would make it much smoother. I think if someone takes the time, either someone needs to know how to play it to begin with, or someone takes the time to sit down and teach it to the others, that's going to make it go 100 times more smoothly, and people are going to enjoy it more, for sure.
I agree. So we got 2 Bs and a B plus, Karen.
We're harsh. Takes a lot to impress us.
Well, if you factor in my grade on the Horrified, it probably brings it down to a C. But
that's like a missing assignment, which we are very familiar with around here. Well, I think it's also our first game night, and we want to leave room for something exceptional or something not so good. So these are all solid games, all enjoyable. I don't think you could go wrong with any of them if you like horror and if you like games. Just takes a little setup time. That's all.
I would agree.
So you're welcome.
And monitor your alcohol intake as well.
Or try. We couldn't stop him.
Like I make a whole thing of punch thinking everyone's going to drink the punch. Well, no, I'm the only one who drank the punch, and I drank all the possession punch.
You had to.
Yeah. Can't let it go to waste, Karen.
You said it was good for a couple days, Greg.
I think my future daughter-in-law had a glass, so I had the rest.
You drank mine. I know that.
Yeah, I know I did, because I remember. You're not going to drink it? I'll take it. Poured it in my cup. So I thought it was delicious, and I wanted everyone to taste it.
I know you had a very good idea, but none of us like beer, and it tastes like beer. Yeah. But we're not going to get in that argument because you said it didn't taste like beer, and then you kept drinking it to prove that it didn't taste like beer. But we couldn't taste what you were tasting, so you were enjoying it.
Well, I was trying to be a giver. I was trying to.
Well, here
I
we
made
are.
it for everyone to share, but
now we're givers. So if you wanted to buy one of these games, they are all available on Amazon.
Yes.
I've actually seen maybe all of them at Target too. But if you want to throw us a penny,
Kohl's or Kohl's too. I think I saw one.
You can buy through the link on the website in the show notes.
In the show notes, which is Amazon.
But I don't think you'll go wrong with any of these.
Yeah, throw us a penny.
Well, it's almost Christmas. You got to start getting this stuff, you know?
You said the C word, Karen.
It's coming. Well, I'm the mom, so I have to get it all ready.
Well, I'm a dad.
Yeah, but you don't have younger kids still.
Your kid's in high school, Karen. He's not younger.
He's younger than yours.
Yeah, but he's not younger.
He still wants stuff besides money.
Okay.
Or practical things. Once you get a certain age, you're like, I need a new frying pan. You know, or hey, I'll take a gas card. That would be awesome. Or, you know, things like that. I think if anyone is interested in Horrified, email greg@scaryspirits.com and he will happily explain his frustrations to you.
No, I won't do that. I'll just be upfront and say, yeah. I mean, once I kind of understood the next day that, oh, you're supposed to work together.
Yeah, see, that whole concept was lost on him. But hey, if anyone out there has a favorite horror game that you really like, I mean, we're open to suggestions. We had a good time doing this and we would definitely do it again. So if you have a game that you really like and you think we should try it, email us at info@scaryspirits.com or greg@scaryspirits.com or karen@scaryspirits.com and let us know.
Yeah, Karen doesn't get enough emails.
Aw, way to throw me under the bus.
Email Karen. I don't think you can go wrong with any of these. If
Agreed.
Your family's likes playing games. I like buying games for my family so that we can play them over the holidays as gifts. Because usually I take the week between December 25th and New Year's off. And my wife and I can just look at each other or we can play games. Or I can
Both
clean.
Excellent options. If you buy any of these for anyone, let us know what you think. I'd be very curious to hear other people's opinions. And remember, we're givers.
So you're welcome, people. We've played these games for you.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.